And welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a very brightly coloured Santa Claus or Father Christmas using the Koh-I-Noor watercolour disc set. I bought this set some time ago and it's a really inexpensive, cheap art product that I really like for the bright colours. So I will link above the first review I did of this set when I first got them. I think I did some flowers then, but I did go through every single colour that they've got in this set. And I will of course link the set itself in the description below. So to begin with, I'm starting by doing a pencil drawing, and I think when you're doing something from the imagination and you want to do it in ink, it's actually very good to do it in pencil first, because you sort of think about it twice. You do your pencil drawing and then you come in with your pen and you can alter things. So don't be set to your pencil lines when you then add your pen. You might want to change things and as you go along. So the pen that I'm using is a Faber Castell Pitt pen, and this size is medium because I wanted it to be quite a strong line and to show quite clearly. I'm doing it on a hot press paper and it's an A4 size pad, and as you can see I've made it a portrait shape so that it would be easy to photograph and then put into a Christmas card or something like that if you wanted to. Now at the end I wasn't very happy with the colours that I'd chosen in his face because I made him very coloured. His little nose was a bit too pink and his cheeks were a bit too pink, but having said that, he was probably outside in a cold and came into the warm and his cheeks were glowing. But I did feel he looked a little bit young maybe for Santa Claus, so I put some extra colour on his face at the end. But I also took some photographs of him and put some filters over him with the computer, and you can do this of course on things like Instagram and on your smartphone. You can change things on the filter. So if you do end up with an image where you think the colours want slightly adjusting, you can do that as well if you're going to make it into a Christmas card to print off. So that's worth bearing in mind, and you'll see I put that right at the end, those different ones that I've put the filters over. And I did actually take a photograph of him whilst he was still just in pen, and I've converted that into a PDF file and put that on my website. So if you did want to download it as a PDF, which you could just print off and colour in, or you could print off and trace, or indeed you could just copy that or save it on your computer and even colour it in on the computer if you wanted to as well. So that PDF will be on my website in the shop, and I will put a link in the description below to that. Now you'll see when I come to do the painting that I do it quite quickly. I have actually speeded this up. I've speeded it up ×3, and I'm working wet onto dry, so I want to do it quite quickly so that it isn't drying too quick and we're getting areas where it's drying and causing lines. This is a nice thing about working within lines when you've done an ink drawing to begin with. If you just work on one section at a time, one colour at a time, things aren't drying too quickly, and it's a good way of working. So move around the painting. You'll see after I've filled the hat in at the top, I then move to a different area so that I'm not touching that, allowing that to dry whilst I'm working somewhere else. You'll also see that I'm testing my colours a lot with these. The colours appear very, very dark on these discs, and it isn't easy to see just by looking at them which colour you're picking up. So always have a piece of rough paper by your side and test the colours before you put them on. I do a little bit of colour mixing for his face and for some of the shadow colours. Shadows on white are quite tricky. I often use either a blue, a grey, a violet, or a mauve kind of grey would be nice as well. On this occasion I used a blue. It was sort of an ultramarine type blue, but I added lots of water to it to make it nice and pale. And then I came in later on and put some extra shadow on with a grey colour, which was in the bottom disc. I say the bottom disc, I've obviously rearranged them as I've gone along, but as I said earlier, all the colours are listed on that first video that I did. I would recommend to you that if you're buying this set of paints, or if you've already got them, I would recommend doing your own colour chart, one chart for each disc, because you've not got any names for those colours or anything. You could give them your own names. Some of them are very similar to some of the most common colours. I mean, if you look at his hat now, it's quite a cadmium red, cadmium orange. It's nice and bright. The colours I used for his face, I mixed one of the reds and one of the yellows together. Later on I came in and added a little bit of brown to that. There's a brown that's more or less like an umber, just to make him a little bit older. I felt he was a bit too young. You could have left his face just with one wash on. It looks quite nice. Don't forget with Santa, you don't want to have lots of wrinkles and things because he wants to look friendly. He's supposed to be friendly and jolly. He wants quite a plump face. He doesn't want to have a wrinkly, skinny face. So avoid putting lots of lines on his face and avoid going in with lots and lots of colours. Just make it quite nice and smooth. So the colours I put in were, like I said, a red, a yellow, and then later on a little touch of brown. I made his eyes blue because it was a nice bright blue. I thought that would be nice and friendly. So the good thing about doing something from your imagination is you can have a bit of a play with your colours as well. So as I went along, I just kept carrying on, building up the colour, wet onto dry, and allowing each bit to dry before I put any more on. And I did just come along with a second layer in places to add a little bit of shadow, which just brings into life a little bit more. I mean, obviously it's quite a cartoony drawing, but just adding that shadow underneath his beard and in some places on his jacket and on his hat just makes it a little bit more convincing as a drawing. So with the shadow on the red, I used the same red and added a touch of purple to it. You could have just added a touch of green to it or something like that, or just done another layer of the red even, and you would have made a bit of a shadow colour. And like I said earlier, the shadow colours on under his beard and his hair and the fur on his hat. The fur on his hat and his hair are a bit not easy to distinguish which are which actually, but I just used a grey colour that was quite a pale grey that was in that set, and some extra shadow under his hair on his face, using there's a colour that's a bit of an ochre brown colour, so that was quite a handy colour to have for that. And then at the end I came in and used my acrylic inks. So these are the pearlescent acrylic inks by Dale Rowney, and I just put a touch of the green on the holly leaves and a touch of the bright magenta pink on the holly berries. I did use a different watercolour paint for the holly berries to the hat, just because there's quite a few different reds in this set, so it's nice to make the holly berries a little bit different to the hat so that they show up more, and then put that little touch of pearlescent ink on, which is nice and shiny for Christmas, because it's nice to use things that are shiny at this time of year. Now, something I did mention in the earlier video was that I really would recommend this set for children. So if you've got children and teenagers that you want to get into art, that you think are interested in art and you want to encourage them, this would be a good set for them, because children like things to be immediate. They haven't got a lot of patience sometimes. They want to see results. So with them being such bright colours and so easy and portable, it's a great set for a child to have. So just with this one set and one nice brush, something like a number 6 that I'm using here, an inexpensive synthetic brush with a nice point on it. You need a nice tip on your brush when you're drawing like this, because you need to get into the points. Look at where all those little points are around his beard and things like that. You want to be able to get in there. So when you're buying your brushes, look for a nice tip. But this set would make a lovely little stocking filler for a child that's interested in getting into art, because you don't want to get them something. When we were children, we had those awful chalky watercolours, and you tried using them and you got no colour out of them, and it really put you off. You didn't bother with them after that because you had no colour. So getting this nice vibrant colour straight away is something that's really going to appeal to children, I think. So a really handy little stocking filler. And it's portable, so it's also good for yourself if you're out on location and things. You could fit this in your handbag, as you see, you can use the lid for mixing in, which I do on this occasion. Okay, so I think that's about everything I need to tell you about the actual drawing and painting of this Santa Claus. Of course, if you've any questions, you can put those in the comments below as usual. If you're new to the channel and you're visiting for the first time, thank you very much for joining. And I've got new tutorials and demonstrations every Monday and Thursday afternoon. They're not always on watercolour. We use quite a lot of different media and cover quite a lot of different subjects. So if there's anything particular that you would like me to do, you can also put that in the comments below as well. And don't forget, you can get this image from my website as a PDF, like I said earlier, to colour in and trace if you want to. There are all sorts of PDFs there from previous videos that I've done as well, if you want to go over to my website and take a look. Apart from that, I would like to say thank you very much for joining me today. Let me know how you get on with your own Santa Claus if you have a go at this, and let me know what you think of the Koh-I-Noor discs as well, because I think for the price they're fabulous. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing them to the artist's watercolours. My artist's watercolours that I use normally, one of those, one colour, costs more than this whole set. So you cannot compare them like for like. You're not comparing the same thing. This is a value set, a cheap set that is good value for money, that gives you a good coverage of colour. It doesn't mean it's as easy to work with as your artist's watercolours. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new to my channel, don't forget you can subscribe below. And to everyone, there's also a little bell you'll see by the subscribe button, and if you touch that, it will mean that you get notified of when there's new videos out, because I know sometimes not all subscribers get notifications. So if you've not gone onto that little bell, you will get more notifications if you do that. So thank you all very much. I look forward to seeing you again soon with more tutorials and demonstrations, and bye for now.